We'll move on and have a presentation on the Peace National Wild and Scenic Rivers Designation Update. Oh, sorry, this is me again. This is an update on the topic brought before the committee last year. At that time, the Management Committee voted to recommend that the Policy Committee support the Partnership Wild and Scenic Rivers designation of the Peace for purposes of conducting a study of the Peace River. And this meets the CCMP of Action 1. Go ahead.
Okay, there hasn't been any action on the Peace River since about a year ago. I did give a speaking presentation, just to give you some background. So I did give a speaking presentation to the Citizen Sport Organization of one of the state parks of the Peace River area, Paynes Creek. And those folks were interested in the Partnership Wild and Scenic Program, and I gave a presentation. I also gave a presentation to this committee, Management and Policy, about a year ago. Now, the Peace is a little bit different than the MIACA. Well, if the Water Management District can hear me, they're saying, yes, it is. I understand that, but it hasn't had a study. Like historically, the Miami River had a National Park Service study. A study always comes first. And the reason a study comes first is that's an opportunity for the community, all of the partners to get together to find out if there is an outstandingly remarkable value, if it's free flowing, if the community wants it, if so, how many miles should be included if it were to go that far. A study has not occurred, so there has been not forward momentum on that, but I bring this back to you as an update and how some of the steps it would, if anyone would want to take it further. So a study usually takes about 3 years. There's 2 studies that are happening simultaneously right now, the Kissimmee River and also the Little Manatee River in Hillsborough County. And Hillsborough County is the driver on that study. The National Park Service, again, this is through congressional designation, is working on that study to find out community support, how many miles, which segments would be wild, scenic, recreational, that type of thing. Another thing is suitability. So is there a lot of community support for that river? There is. This would have to come first. It would be congressionally authorized, a study. Park Service doesn't do it. And again, if there is the community advocacy and driver, that's the way a study gets authorized. If there's not, it doesn't. So it takes about 3 years. The study committee is put together of all the players, just like this type of well-represented stakeholder group, like the NEP. Did you want me to do anything further about the clarity of the study process? It takes about 3 years. You're looking for outstanding, remarkable values, free flow, and if there is the mileage and the designation of the different segments, whether they would be classified wild, recreational, or scenic. And how that river would be managed. Typically, we work with a nonprofit partner as the fiduciary on flowing those funds for your local projects. So that's also in the management plan. Okay, so NPS has continued to meet with key stakeholders. I would only say that to this slide, we met with the Water Management District after a year ago. They did have concerns about their projects that they have in the pipeline for the piece. So it could be that the piece is not ripe. I always use that word, ripe. So that, we take all of that into consideration, advocacy and support is not warranted at that time. It might be that years down the road, somebody might say, right is now, but if, after the water management district or what have you, get those projects put in. I will tell you that we are not in the business of stopping any water supply projects. We work on the Kaiba, we work with the water management district all the time. We are not there to be regulatory. Okay. We made a presentation to the Paynes Creek Historic State Park because the CSO was interested. And I think it's funny, one of the folks was there, they lived in Tennessee, and they brought that information back to their community and trying to get some new rivers designated in Tennessee. So.
Great. Okay.
Okay.
Next.
Is that, any questions on that
Any questions?
piece?
Well, Madam Chair.
Mr. Hall, your hand is up. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Is that the end of your PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Looking
Thank
at her.
you. All right, couple of thoughts actually. The new or additional reservoir for Minnesota is going to need additional withdrawals from the Peace River. The Polk Regional Water Cooperative is potentially going to need or want to make withdrawals from the Peace River as an alternative water supply, depending on the results of the MFL study that is currently ongoing by the district. That study, as I just stated, is currently ongoing and should be completed by the end of this year and submitted to the district board for review and consideration for adoption at the beginning of next year. Question now is, who initiated the wild and scenic designation discussion concerning the Peace River? It was mentioned previously that several citizens groups may have brought it up, but nothing definitive was ever mentioned about who those groups might be. That's the question. The other two statements, and I have some more after that. Do we know who brought it up?
Oh, I already mentioned, I went based on an invitation to the CSO of Paynes Creek Historic State.
Okay, you said you presented to them, but are they the ones who have brought up the issue and
No,
for the designation?
I think when I was first here, I think I mentioned I was here to talk about partnership wildlife centers. Period. And we brought up the MIAC and the piece together. There was some consternation about the two together, and that was why I was here, was just to talk about the Partnership Wild and Scenic Rivers program. And since that time, the only reason I came back and the piece is even being discussed right now is it was asked by, I think, some of the committee members here to just because it was on the a year ago agenda item.
Thank you for clarifying that, because we do have some new board members, including myself. So
Right.
not everybody is aware of what you said a year ago.
There's not a driver.
Okay. Thank you for that answer. The thing that we have to consider as the district board is, how are we going to provide water for one of the, if not the fastest growing region in the nation? The Peace River is going to be one of those things that we're going to be taking a look at in Polk County and the Minnesota area. So I would recommend that this item be tabled until the district completes their minimum flows and levels study and the board has had an opportunity to review and adopt the minimum flow and level study for the Peace River. And if that needs to be a motion, I'll make that motion. Currently is a recommendation, waiting on any additional comment.
Doherty.
Is that, Mr. Hall, is that a motion to table?
I will make that a motion to table this item until approximately this time next year, when the minimum flows and levels study has been completed by the district and reviewed by the district board.
I'll second that for some discussion, Madam Chair, I guess, at this point. You know, Mr. Hall, I'm Ken Doherty. I'm the County Commissioner in Charlotte County, and Charlotte County is a member of the the Minnesota Regional Water Supply Authority, a critical supply source for Manatee, well, it will be for Manatee County, Sarasota County, Charlotte County, and DeSoto County. And there's a lot of capital improvements projects, you're correct, a lot of stuff that's in the quote pipeline that, you know, we're all concerned about relative, especially for Charlotte County, for our mid-county between the Peace River, Myakka River, and our West County residents that are within Charlotte County utilities, very critical supply source. So we're going through, and there's some major projects that are about to take place within a year or so. A 9 billion gallon reservoir, additional reservoir in DeSoto County, a plant expansion of 24 million gallons a day. It's huge. So we have to keep that ball rolling. I'm not supportive of this kind of an effort right now, Madam Chair. It's using your term. It's not. This is not ripe yet, in my opinion.
There is no effort going on.
Well,
I just wanted that.
not right now.
Yeah,
Right.
there is no effort. There is nothing that the Park Service is doing except providing information, period.
Madam Chair, I think it makes sense that it would be revisited again periodically. If some people have indicated some desire to consider this eventually, the district and the other agencies, state agencies, will give us a better picture of where we are with all this as time goes on. So just to bury it forever wouldn't make any sense either, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So bringing it back again to have some kind of a conversation again is certainly logical, but right now it's way too premature. We got too much stuff going on.
So I'll get to you just in one minute, Ms. Farrell. So we have a motion to table, but we can also just take no action. I just want to make sure you all are aware.
Or no
of
action.
that. Just take no action.
I'll withdraw my second if Mr. Hall will withdraw his motion.
But I do want to let Ms. Farrell ask her question or make her comment, so please go ahead.
Let's let the other comment be made, and then I am considering the withdrawal based on the comment.
Yes, sir. Ms. Farrell?
I am terrified, alarmed at the huge overdevelopment going on in Florida. We are being choked. I have only lived here not even 4 years. I ran for council after only a couple of those years because I saw in that short period of time the huge degradation that is happening. I am appalled at Manatee County and the whole thing, and all the counties. We need to stop overdevelopment, okay? It is well known that Tallahassee runs the whole kit and caboodle and that we are a tourism and development state. What we are doing is we are killing the goose that laid the golden egg. We are killing the goose. We are not going to have tourism. Venice now looks at half-mast. We suffered under Ian, and after Milton, the trees are wind-whipped. We had winds, terrific winds, only 2 inches of rain, unlike in St. Petersburg had 18 inches. It was so much wind that it took the actual liquid out of the leaves so that the leaves immediately became brown. I am terrified that, okay, we're in January. Hurricane season starts just 4 or 5 months from now. Our foliage cannot possibly regroup before the next assault, which is increasing in intensity, ferocity, and nature for the first time. I live in a community that was instituted in 1956. For the first time in Helene, the seawall was breached 6 inches. By Milton, just 10 days later or a few days later, 17 inches where I live and 3 to 4 feet across the way. 45 homes are now have demolition permits and we're not done. Had the storm, had the surge that was predicted, had the wind shear not happened, and this is a matter of fact, not opinion, the homes would have been taken off their foundations and we would have had a Fort Myers Beach. I think everyone needs to wake up, and I am so sorry that this assembled group is not understanding that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
I would be more than happy to debate that offline with the council lady at any point in time. But there are preserved property rights in our Constitution that allows for use of your property, is so long as you can meet the legal requirements. And all these people that are moving in here within the last 2 years or 4 years or 6 years are part of the problem. I'll be more than happy to debate that because I've got an hour and a half of stuff that I could say, but I'll just leave that to the council lady to get in touch with me, and I will be more than happy to meet with her and discuss it at length.
Okay, we will make sure she gets your information.
Thank you.
A meeting with you. I moved into already existing housing, not new housing, okay? I would never move into new housing in a stressed area. And we need to start prioritizing and incentivizing existing housing instead of this constant urban sprawl. And Bert Harris is not always king. Take a look at the website, 1,000 Friends of Florida. There are limits to these property rights, and you need to educate yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. We do need to move on. Jamie, thank you. I don't think we have any further questions. Mr. Hall, have you withdrawn your motion?
So long as the this committee is, or this board is content with taking no item on or no action on this item this year and letting the district finish their minimum flows and level study. Yes, I will withdraw the motion.
Does anybody have opposition to that?
I oppose it. I oppose it.
So what do we do now?
You just put a note
So I'd
that
like
for
to-
the
her
minutes.
opposition.
Okay,
Yes.
vote on this table.
Well, it was withdrawn, but I will definitely make sure that your opposition is noted in the minutes, the official record of the meeting.
So
He withdrew.
So I'd like to put in a motion that we do approve it as stated by Ms. Racine. Okay, so I'm
Is there a
moving
second?
that the Peace River study be continued as the first step in designation of a wild and scenic river. Because it's gonna take a couple years, right?
Well, I can't get any study started. That is a congressional act. So I was here to tell you how the process worked for any new partnership wild and scenic rivers. So there would have to be advocacy and support for a study to go forward.
So
I think the Water Management District is saying they need to finish their studies first before this gets reintroduced back to the group. I have a good relationship with the district and we can still talk about this. They're asking for their study to commence first and then this to be tabled or no action whatsoever. So I can't do a study.
But Congress is the one who's going to decide to do the
Correct.
study. It would not be us deciding to do a study. We
Right.
can agree to support the study. So
Study going.
do we have a second with Ms. Farrell's motion? Okay, we don't have a second. So according to the rules, what did you say we would do?
Well, then it fails for lack of a second.
Fails for lack of a
I'm just
second.
looking at Robert's rules.
Okay, we need to move on. Thank you, Jamie. We really appreciate it. The next item on the agenda is the federal IRC listening session of the member 2024 hurricane recovery needs. And we have Greg Viday of the U.S. Economic Development Association. Mr. Viday, are you on the phone?
I'm here.
Oh, you're here. Hi. Good. I'm so sorry. I thought I was told you were going to be on the phone. The purpose of this item is to provide a brief introduction of the Federal Interagency Recovery Coordination Team, followed by IRC members listening to you all on your natural resource recovery assistance needs. We've heard some already today from the recent hurricanes